And we are back. Brent is gonna come and join. Sorry, we're running a little bit late. We're finishing up the Ray Reacts live stream, and so now we are ready to tackle Therapy Thursdays. Thank you guys for joining in. And cool, I'm gonna bring Brent on. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
All
Can you
good?
hear me? All right, cool.
Yep, I can hear you. Perfect. All right. So, thank you guys. We are starting a little late. Oh, thanks, love. So we and my bestie, you were out there looking phenomenal earlier today too. Just have to let you know.
Hi, Leslie.
My best friend Leslie. Okay, so today's Therapy Thursday. We've got Brent back. You guys,
Oh,
know you
God.
are a show favorite. And so
Rosa,
Brent
I see you.
is
What's
the
that? Okay,
hey
sorry.
Rosa. Brent is the right. Brent, besides being one of my best friends, he is the co-founder of Diversify Photo, and
No,
are
I'm
you
just
like the
photo
senior
editing. Just
editor,
a
or are you
low
just
level
photo
photo editing.
editor? Okay, I'm gonna give you your right props now. Okay. But he is a photo editor at the New York Times. You guys saw him before. He came on and talked about imposter syndrome, and so we brought him back. And today we are talking about men and mental health. We're gonna be putting a special emphasis on Black men and mental health, but by all means, men of all races we will be definitely talking with, and hopefully I'll be able to get a very diverse crew of guests during this little mini series. But we're gonna jump right into it because we spent a whole lot of
He
time
did
talking
that.
about
He did
Tim
that to
for like
himself.
the past hour and a half. So so we're gonna talk about that. So just jumping right in, what did society
I
teach
mean,
you about mental
I
health?
mean, just coming up in, like, not the society as a whole, but if you just think about what it is to be Black in America, like, it was always just your grandma, like, yeah, pray on it, baby. Just pray on it. Everything's fine. Just pray on it. Put a little water on it.
Mhm.
Or, like, no, I'm just, I don't think the
Mhm.
ideal of anxiety, which is something I'm suffering with right now, was even a thing. It was just like, you're a little stressed. Just go sit down somewhere. Take your time off and go breathe and come back to it, or
Yeah.
anything like that, or the ideal of, it was just you wouldn't talk about that outside. Like, if something was wrong with you,
Right.
like, mentally, there was something that was actually, like, mentally unstable in some way, shape, or form. It was even the idea of just like, there's something wrong with them, we just gonna put them off in the corner, or, whatever. So, like, it wasn't talked about, wasn't spoke about.
Right.
I don't think I've ever had a conversation. Even when I see my mother going through issues, I knew that, like, you should probably go see somebody about this. It was just buried. It was something that was just buried inside.
Mhm.
I deal with it on my own. I see you in
Yeah.
3 days. So it's just, you're not, yeah.
Right. So, what do you feel like your views are now, and what's changed from how you felt like growing up? That view of okay, just pray on it or just deal with it to like now. So, where are you
I
at
mean,
with
now, I think
your
we've
views
all
on
started
mental
to
health
realize
now?
in myself, it's a serious thing. It's a thing. It's health. It's health. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God,
Yeah,
I can't breathe. I'm like
absolutely.
450 pounds. You're like, no, that's a problem. You should go to the gym. Like, you should, like, eat better. And that's the same way we have to
Right.
look at mental health. And so now I think I'm over. I won't say I'm completely over the stigma of mental health, because even like today, the Times just got we got a 6 month trial to what's the app for, where you can, like, get a therapist. It's Talkspace. Yes, I was gonna say Headspace.
Oh,
Talkspace.
Talkspace.
But yeah, even that, like, I opened the email and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. But, like, immediately at the same time, I was like, and minimize. I'll deal with that at home. Like, I don't know, like, why I was going home, but,
Mm,
like, I was like, no, I'll deal with that at home, and the safety of my own home, no one can find out.
yeah,
Um, but I'm at the point now, I'm like, I'm cool with
yeah,
saying that if I'm going to take a sick day because I'm, like, just not in that space, I need to take a sick day. This is what I have to do,
yeah.
like an actual mental health
Literally
day.
a mental health day.
And I'm okay with telling people,
Yeah.
like, you know what, my anxiety just can't handle this. I remember, and this is crazy because we're talking like a year ago. A friend of mine was like, I can't help you on this. My anxiety is just, it's a lot. And I was like, the hell you mean anxiety is a lot? You better get through that. I'm at work. But like now, I'm like, I
Right.
understand. I completely. And even like so,
Yeah.
and this is, I want to say I'm just kind of come around within like the last 6 months because like we talked about before, I went through a hard bout of depression. Uh, Jasmine's a savior for that, but like
Mm-hmm.
that was something I should have found someone and went to go talk. I remember like having a
Yeah.
list of therapists. We're in DC at the time. I remember having a list of therapists. I was like, I'm gonna go see one. I had folks lined up like at the office. Like I could just like I think she was based over at like
Right.
Howard. Um, and I was like, I'm gonna go over there during work, after work, whatever, knock that out. Even then, I was still like, I no, I'll just handle it on my own. So
Yeah. So what stopped you? What was
it
that?
was, I
Where
mean,
did
for
that wall
me,
come
like when it
from?
comes to the hardcore battle of depression, that was me not wanting to call my insurance company. So that's I just didn't want to call it. I didn't want to deal with it. And also, I guess a little bit of stigma being on the phone. Like, I was like, yeah, man, so I totally need to find a doctor for my hemorrhoids. But, like, call and be like, so I totally need to find, like, a therapist to help me out with something I'm going through. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I would get judged. It's still that, it still feels like there's the stigma around it.
Mm.
It still feels like you're weak.
Yeah.
And we're more or less,
Yeah. And I feel like there's that extreme with it too, right? Because it's like, as soon as it's like, oh, I might just need a
yeah,
little help, people
exactly. I don't
immediately
want,
think
and
like,
that's
oh,
the
you need to
one
be
thing. And
hospitalized.
I remember,
Yeah.
we're going to get deep for a moment. Um, Probably at this point, I probably should, but like there are moments of like thoughts of suicide. I'm gonna get real, because we go far back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that, and that probably was a moment where like you
Yeah.
should probably get hospitalized or like you needed to see someone. Um, but even
Yeah.
just the bare bones level of depression, I was still like, I don't want people to know. I don't want to put a name on it. Just because you put a name on it now, it's actual sickness. Now you
Yeah.
actually deal with it. So
Right. And I think it is, and it's that people will talk, and like I said, I'll get these. When I was 14, I was
yeah,
hospitalized. I was in a hospital, for 9 days. And I was like, but I was terrified. I remember even when I was dating, I was terrified of telling people, yeah, back when I was a teenager, and I was like, literally, I was just dealing with a really tough transition of being motherless, dealing with the stepmother, all the transitions to what I was feeling and everything that was going on. My friend groups, I was
yeah,
14, so I had like I was becoming a teenager. I mean, being a teenager, I feel like that's a whole
exactly.
mental health issue in itself. But like all that. But not. But then it became this stigma I felt that I was carrying with me because it was always, and even to this day, sad to say that my dad has used that on me, like, oh well, yeah, and then you wanted to be all crazy and stuff like that, and I'm like,
Yeah,
number one, that was
exactly.
16 years ago. So besides that, but also like, instead of using that as a say off to like, hey, what could I have changed in my parenting or how could I have supported you, it became a, this is not something you were just doing, and was it for attention or was it for this, and it wasn't like, well, what's the core of this, and like, how can I be with you during this process. I don't know if you've seen, have you been watching the
Yeah.
what is it, David Letterman, My Next Guess Is?
Yep.
Did you see the one with Kanye? Okay. One of the most powerful things he said, and I never really thought about it, but when he talked about when people go into the hospitals and
Hmm.
they're getting hospitalized, they're getting,
Exactly.
all that, and they separate them from their family and their
Yeah.
friends because it makes you feel like you're a danger. And I can remember being 14, and actually, one of my closest friends to me was concerned about me, called, so I got taken out of school that day, escorted through the school, put in an ambulance, all this stuff, couldn't go home. And it's like, it was one of the scariest experiences I ever had because I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm totally alone. Like, and then I remember, I don't think I saw my parents for a couple of days after that. Like, I didn't, that was just it. So when you think about just like, man, like this is
Exactly.
now the experiences that people are having, and this is why they don't want to share them because they didn't feel supported while they were in the midst of it. So why
Yeah.
would I feel supported now that that's years from now, or now that I'm ready to tell my story and talk
Exactly.
about like
And
this is
like
the
even on
support that
top
I
of
need.
like even to go so further, you just said something really really big that I don't think a lot of people understand. Um, the ideal of understanding the support that you need. And I think that's something that I couldn't even tell you
Mm-hmm.
what even when I was going through my zones, the many of looking back the many. what I would have needed at that time. Like if your father would ask you like, how could I have been supportive? If my mom asked me
Yeah.
like, how could I have been supportive to that time when you're going through that? I'm like, I have no idea what I would have needed at that moment in life and time. So yeah,
It's funny. I definitely knew what I had need, but I mean, I was like always
yeah.
like very like in touch with my feelings, and it was just like I was journaling every day about what
Nope.
I was
I
feeling, you
see.
know. So,
I was.
but yeah, but I recognize that most people are, but I to take that a step further, like, okay, so I'm a clinician, right? You know, so in my thing, you know, most people are like, oh, okay, you've got it together, you got all these tools and stuff. But when I was going through my divorce, I developed generalized anxiety disorder. I was having panic attacks almost every single day. I was dealing also even now, like my caffeine
Mm,
sensitivity is out the roof. Like, I mean, I literally have, you know, to really manage
yeah.
everything, because I'm like, I know it can come back like this. And so I when I talk to my clients, I actually just had a conversation this week. I'm like, I'm
Exactly.
telling you tools that I have to use myself, because I was like, I will still have a panic attack if I feel like, oh gosh, like I'm so worried about what my, like, it still happens. So it's like,
Hmm.
but those conversations have to happen, because unless we normalize it and unless we're talking and it becomes a human thing
Exactly.
versus just this is your condition,
Yeah, and it's one
then
of those
it's
situations
never
that we
going to
don't talk.
change.
I feel like they're really important things we don't talk about. It's like money, health. Like both of those
Yeah.
situations we shy away from. Like they're just some taboo subjects. Which I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
everyone's grandmother at one time was like, "Don't bring politics of money to the table, baby." But like both of those things are pretty important,
Mm-hmm.
grandma. Like I understand,
Yep.
like or for you at that time, but like it doesn't work anymore. Mental health is one
Yeah.
of those situations where you just are trained not to
Yeah.
talk about it, which is the reason why I think now I've had
Yeah.
conversations with my mom. And I'm like, she's like, I was in a dark place then. Like it got bad, and I was like, I understand. Like we've all been there, and having more people have been like, we've been there. Like I've
Right.
been there. Like I might smile on the outside and be
Yeah.
looking like, oh, this is so great, everything is awesome, but like on the inside, I'm like, this, I'm like done.
Mm-hmm.
But it really like it's
Yeah.
up to us to have these conversations to normalize it. It's the same way that if I walk in the office with my foot broken, you'd be like, "Oh, what happened to your foot?" You know, it's not as easy to see, but I feel like I should be able to have that
Right.
conversation the same way. How was your night? It was rough. It was a really rough night.
Yeah. Yeah. And even to think about the concessions that people would make, right? Because it's like, oh, you're
Yeah,
coming in here with a cast. Can I get you a pillow? Can I go, you know, copy this so that you don't have to do anything? So, what accommodations can be made to say, hey, man, I know that you've really been dealing with depression. You know, is there? Can I offer you a day off at work? Can I, you know, do you need somebody to come sit with you for an
yeah,
hour after work because you don't want to go home to an empty house or whatever? Like those same type of accommodations that come with our general health should be coming with our mental and emotional health, well, but
no,
they're
at
not
all.
viewed at the
At
same
all. I mean,
rate,
even the
you
idea
know,
that
at
like
all.
you brought
Yeah.
up a mental health day. Like if some employers look at them like
Mhm.
that's crap. But like, okay, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You can go shopping.
You just want to go
You just need to get
shopping.
out of here. Like no, like it's a sick day. Like that's part of what I do. That's part of who I am. Like it's health
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And so I can be here in body, but if my
Absolutely.
mind's off somewhere else, or I'm dealing with anxiety, I'm having panic attacks, or I'm just really not feeling it, like today, like I'm not gonna give you the same
Yeah.
production level if I was 100%. Like I'm not gonna be 100%. Like whether I have a cold or I'm just
Exactly.
feeling really off.
Right. So true. So when you think about who you'd be willing to talk to as a therapist, do you have a preference when it comes to like men
Hmm.
or women?
I actually, I've always vibed better with women. So
Mhm.
like that's just always how it's been. My even if you look at my circle of friends is very small. Of my tight knit friends, like, and
Mhm.
you're gonna get we got three, four, maybe five guys, and then like if you go back to come up to high school, because like when you get married, things change. But even then, like even in high school, like but my
Yeah.
circle of women were a lot bigger, and if I want to go through something, I want to talk
Right.
through an issue I'm having, or back in those days, like, oh my God, she feels good with me. But like, if I want to talk through that, it was usually one of my female friends that I had those conversations with. And so it's just always something for
Right.
me that's always felt easier in a way. So I no, and I think we're
Mhm.
still dealing with the idea of like toxic masculinity in a way. So being able to like let free in a
Mhm.
way with another man, it's just I don't think everyone's to that par. Everyone's up to that level yet. And even if you're a therapist, like I still see
Right.
you as another man. But I'm completely willing, open, to, like bare
True.
my soul. Jasmine knows more about me than anyone should actually know. She's my wife, but like she knows a lot more. You know more things about me than like many other people should ever
Mhm.
know. But like it's really just
Right.
that like comfortability level, just being able to feel like I'm not completely being judged in a way. So that's why even the
Mhm.
therapists that I looked at
Yeah.
in DC, they were all women. Like looking back at that right now, yeah.
Mhm. Now, did you look at race as well? So, was it that you felt more comfortable with someone that was black, or were
For
you
me,
able
it
to
was
look
it was
outside of that?
it's it yeah. I'm about to say yeah. At the end of the day, like I want someone black just because there's certain issues that I feel like are general, to general when it comes down to the scheme of things. But
Mhm.
there's certain tidbits, there's certain
Sure.
lines that you just wouldn't understand. And
Mhm.
if I'm in this therapy session, I don't want to have to break this down to you. I really don't want to have to explain to you.
Give an example of something that like a black therapist would get that maybe someone of a
Oh
different race
God.
would struggle with the concept.
Let me see. The I don't know, maybe like I'm trying to think of it has to be something everything I feel like everything goes back to your parents in some way, shape, or form. So I'm trying to like find some parental thing.
Yeah.
Um no, no, that's a good one. That's a really I should have come prepared for that one. Like you should have texted me that question beforehand. Jeez. Yes, and a
That was a
prep
good. I
question.
should have. That should have been a
I'm
prep
like
question.
I'm gonna like
But sometimes, see, a true journalist will
exactly.
also throw some curveballs in
Yeah,
there
I
too.
can
You know, I still
tell.
got my
'Cause I'm like,
journalism
oh
roots at
God, what
heart.
would it
Okay.
be? What would be one of those questions that would just stick out? Maybe no, because that's more of a gender question. I'm thinking like the ideals of being, I guess, really like dealing with anxiety and overall America, like dealing with the white folks in my office that
Mhm.
I want to be like, yo, thank you for these
Yeah.
microaggressions today. I
Yeah.
totally wanted that with my coffee. How did
Yeah.
you know? Um,
Right. Or even like I think about there's this video going around with the have you seen they have like the super
yeah,
soakers and they're like throwing the super soakers at one another trying to get people to do that, and I love it, but it makes me very nervous too, because I think about if people did that, in
whack.
Inglewood or in Roseland, it looks very much like a super soaker, absolutely, but I also
Yeah.
think I would
Oh
be
yeah. No,
terrified if
yeah.
I
And
had a
I mean
teenage
that's
black son
also one
doing
of the
that.
situations. I just got done reading What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Blacker, which is a highly recommended book. Oh my God. Um, it's Damon
Write
Young
that
is
down.
a brilliant writer. Like when it comes to books that need to be read, it's like that and between me and yeah, between the world and me. By Ta-Nehisi. Yep.
Is
Like
that
those two are like
Ta-Nehisi
required
Coates?
reading, like through and through. But
It's on my phone. I just have to actually get that in Becoming. I haven't got to finish all the way yet because I couldn't find them on audiobook. If they were on audiobook, I'd be done. But to actually have time to sit down and like
see. Don't
read,
tell nobody. I
it's
was
been a
supposed to be my
struggle. But
Audible. I finished Becoming. I passed it off to my mama too. So I'll let you slide. But no, Amazon don't come for me. But, um, but yeah, and that's I mean, but situations like that, like dealing with my black child, like there is tons of like
mm-hmm.
questions I'm having of just dealing with my own identity, like own masculinity and all, and just trying to raise him to be what he wants to be. And then dealing with the idea of parenting, because
Yeah,
parenting as a black person is vastly different than dealing with parenting as a white
yeah,
person in this country, like on so many levels. I'm like right now having the conversation like, all right,
absolutely.
so when am I gonna
Yeah.
start breaking down reality Sokoa? Like I don't know when. Or like, cause we
Mm-hmm.
got some. I remember being
Yeah.
5. My mom was like, "All right, 10 and 2, 10 and 2. Keep your hands at 10 and 2." I'm like, Mom, I'm 5 years old. I'm like 11 years away from driving, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
Rodney King got killed. And we're sitting there in the car. She's like, you put your hands at 10 and 2.
Yeah.
No, sir. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. You keep everything up here. I'm going for
Yeah.
my wallet. Like, I don't feel like you're going to be able to talk to, like,
Yeah.
John Jacob Beaker Smith and be like, so, I'm having anxiety about breaking this down. He's like, oh, I don't know that problem. That's a new issue. I've never heard that one before. Oh, really? That's what happened. Ah,
Yeah.
Trayvon.
What do you feel like it would take for, because obviously, I mean, now we can pick sometimes, but if you get,
Mm-hmm.
with a man, or if you get with a white man or a white woman, what do you think it would take for you to feel understood, not just as a
I
man, but
That's the
as a
thing. I
black
don't
man?
really know if I mean I feel like there's definitely a way. I think there's definitely a way into it, but for me, it's gonna take like a lot of coaching in a way and a lot of explaining, which means that I will start those sessions off and we wouldn't really fully talk about race. Like we just wouldn't. We would talk about that deals with general masculinity, and just how that rides.
Mm-hmm.
So I can talk to them about um,
Okay.
the feelings of insecurity about my masculinity. We can talk about that because it's two men talking. We can bring that subject up, and I can
Right.
talk about um, any of those subjects and then drop these tidbits in over our sessions of being like, like dealing with this at work, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
having this little bit of stressor here, or I'm having this anxiety about the elections, or just these
Yeah.
small tidbits just keep around, which also, I guess, kind of creates this
Yeah.
understanding, and I can kind of coach them into this space a little bit more. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I think it also, because you want to walk that line of like, I want to help
yeah,
you be able to serve other black men better, but you also don't want to be the token black man of like,
yeah,
now it's my responsibility to educate you on black culture, and this is, so because that never works. And
yeah.
then it's like we're all so diverse, so it's like you're never gonna, um so yeah. So what do you feel like a good therapeutic relationship would look like? So what would you want
I mean,
in a
honestly, I think for
therapeutic
me, it's
relationship?
just thoroughly understanding like who like give me the room and the space to kind of like really get what's on my chest off my chest, and then bringing to like the issues that I might not be
Mm-hmm.
seeing. Like you're hearing me like spill everything, so give me that feedback. Give me that little bit of like, well, have
Yeah.
you thought about this? How does that make you feel? Like let me dive into that a little bit more. Let me understand where you're
Mm-hmm.
coming from just that a little bit more. Um, and as a
Right.
person who hasn't had therapy in Jesus Christ, 25 years or something like that, 23,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of make it in a way that feels a bit more conversational. Because I feel like in a way, like if I'm just talking, spilling my
Mm-hmm.
guts, and not getting any feedback from you, I feel like you're just jotting notes and you're like, yeah, it's crazy. Um, but like if I'm having at that level of those conversations, I'm having with people that like I know that know me, but you can give the same information they would give to me, minus having that relationship. That's what I need.
Mm-hmm.
That completely unfiltered, true to heart, honest responses. Because
Yeah.
if I'm talking to one of my guys, I'm like, yo, man, so it's crazy. We got this thing going on with Jasmine. She out here wilding. We ain't like we got this going on. He's like, oh, you know what? So I know both of you, and I know you and Jasmine, and so I understand. So my feelings with
Mm-hmm.
both of y'all, so I'm not gonna lead you the wrong way, but like they're just like, you know what? I think that maybe you should look at it this way. I'm
Right.
like, oh, that's cool. Or like
Right.
just give me that hard truth because your friends and people
Yeah.
around you aren't going to give you majority of the time aren't going to give you like thoroughly what you just need to
Yeah.
be honest and be like, yo, you stupid. Like
Right.
it's like
Although sometimes I want to pull that Iyanla hat on and be
yeah,
like, "Beloved,
like
you are
but you
out
can't
of
do that. But
order."
like a
Like,
therapist is going to find that very nice way of being like, well, did you think about it from this angle? I'm like, Like,
right.
exactly. But
How did that work for you? I
yeah.
noticed you tried that the last few
Yeah,
times. Do you
exactly.
think that was
But like,
beneficial?
your boy's gonna be like, "Hey, man, she wilding, but I can't believe she did that to you." Like maybe if you
Right.
wouldn't have like stayed out to 4 a.m. three
Yeah.
weekends in a row and like neglected your child, maybe it might work out differently. So Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. What do you think, I guess, is the most important takeaway for people to have when it comes to men and mental health and breaking down the stigmas that have been here for hundreds and
Yeah, I
hundreds of
must say,
years,
history of
maybe
mankind at this
thousands?
point. I think overall
Yeah.
for me, it's just realize it's like, hey, you're not alone. You're not the only person going through these things. Don't ever feel like you are because you're not.
Hmm.
That's the one thing. That's like
Yeah.
one of the biggest takeaways I want to say in my parenting class that I took before we had COVID was just like, whenever you're up at 2 a.m. and you think your kids just won't stop crying and the diaper's just constantly dirty, and you got the light
Hmm.
on, remember, look around the room. Every guy sitting next to you is probably doing the exact same thing. You're not alone. If no one in this room is doing it, there's someone down the street doing that you don't know. And so that's the same way I want you to think about mental health. Is fact matters of like,
That's good.
yeah, you think you're alone in this, but you're not. There's someone going through the same thing you're going through. Maybe they're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't see it because mental health is one of those things that you just cannot see. But you're not alone in this. Um,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, just don't. Just
Yeah.
it's okay. We're humans, and we don't have to like. We're not gonna win a
Hmm.
race. It's not like we can get to the end of the line and we're gonna like get a medal, like walking to heaven. It's like, oh, here's your chip for being a completely vulnerable person. Go you. Go on in. Get the VIPs. All right, that's
Right.
not gonna happen. That's not how this works.
Right.
And like I'm sorry to say, if you have people in your life that judge you for being vulnerable, although like if you, I guess you're in a therapy session, no one's gonna know anyway.
Hmm.
But like if people judge you for taking care of yourself, like
Right.
you probably need to like let go of those people. You don't need them in your life if they're
Yeah.
judging you for taking care of yourself.
And the worst that's going to happen
Yeah,
is people are
let
going
them
to look
look.
at you a different way.
Let them look.
But
Take a picture. It lasts
so
longer.
what?
I'm gonna judge you on the picture you took, but
Right.
anyway. Um, But no, it's just the idea of like just be open, be vulnerable, and don't put the mask up. Like also, if you go into a
Yeah.
therapy, just don't put the mask up. All right, just be real. Like I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
in which that also goes into like choose your therapist wisely. Choose who you're going to very wisely.
Mhm.
Just because I know some of the things that I would want to speak of in my sessions, I wouldn't always feel comfortable talking to therapists with certain backgrounds. When it becomes the idea of,
Mhm.
um, like I'm going to prove that whatever therapist I need the person to be completely sex positive. I don't, no, I can't, I'm not here
Mhm.
for that. I can't, I'm sorry. And that's one of the things that I would need, which knowing these things beforehand allows me to be open with all the feelings that I'm having. Um, so yeah, but it's like just
Mhm.
choosing those people that you have involved in your life on that, especially since you're going to be vulnerable, you're going to be open. Like just
Right.
do that and just make sure the people that you have around you are cool, and are accepting of what you're willing to
Mhm.
bring.
Yeah. And interview your, I think people don't realize, they feel like, I think, and I have to remind people when they come into my office, and we're having, I'm like, this is not it. Like, if this isn't a good fit, that's okay. I'm not going to be offended because at the end of the day, my heart is going
Yeah,
to be for people to get the help they need. So it's like, if we're not a good fit, that's fine. Let me find you somebody who is. It's not going to hurt my feelings, but you can interview
yeah,
me as much as I'm going to be like interviewing you. Like, you need to see if this is a good fit. You need to know and ask these questions because that's important, and I think I'm probably more progressive in my thinking. So a lot, I work for a Christian counseling center, and so I come in, so it's very Bible believing, and all of that. But I also know that I have a heart for people, and so I have to partner that. So whereas there are some people who, they might be rigid in their views. So asking those questions before you come in, that's important, and also making
hmm
sure that you look at that therapist profile and see what do they specialize in, what groups do they feel comfortable with, because when we filled out like kind of our client needs assessment, we have to say, okay, would we be willing to work with sex offenders? Would we be willing to
yeah,
work with, same-sex couples? Would we be willing in all these things? And so there are certain people who specialize in certain, and so knowing that and then doing your research, don't just say,
exactly.
hey, this is the first person I found in the yellow page. People don't even use the yellow pages anymore, but
Yeah,
like
popped
my
up.
first Google search, and this is what I found, like, just because they're a young Black therapist or, a therapist that you might feel you relate to
Exactly.
doesn't mean that they're always going to be a good fit. because I also feel like you
No.
don't want your therapist to be your homie either. Like you want a good vibe and you want to feel like, okay, I can relate to you, but it shouldn't be that you feel like this is one of your
Mm-hmm.
friends, because then that can also blur the lines too of like, can I really be receiving, and be receptive to what they're saying, because
Yeah, exactly.
now I'm just looking at you as one of my girls. And so I feel like,
Yeah,
that you
and
also have
that's,
to
and
have
it's one of
those
the things that
boundaries
like
there too.
factors into it, and like just don't take like you wouldn't date that way. You wouldn't meet the first person you met and you're like, all right, cool, we're gonna take this thing all the way and we're gonna get married. I don't really know your middle name yet, but I know this is
Right.
going. This is not like married at first sight. This is an ongoing
Right.
relationship that you're building. So you gotta make sure that person is
Yeah.
what you expect that you're going to be able to get and work with, because you're not going to be vulnerable with some person that you feel like is
Absolutely.
constantly judging you or you have nothing to really vibe back and forth about. And couldn't even
Yeah.
understand the world from your point of view,
Yeah.
world from your angle. Because if I'm trying to think of like a regular doctor, sure. You know what? We're all built the same way. Yeah, my leg hurts. It probably looks like the other 1,000 legs that you've seen this month. Yeah, you know how to do that. But if I'm like, yeah, so growing up as a poor black child was rough. It's like, yeah, I imagine so. That sounds like a problem. I'm gonna go back to my penthouse in Manhattan that my parents left me. Like, yeah, you're not gonna probably understand where I'm
Right.
coming from.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But also, I think on the flip side of that, being able to know that
True.
the therapist can be flexible as well. Because I remember, so the area where I'm in, it's like very middle to upper middle class. And I remember when I had my very first week of seeing clients, and
Hmm.
I kept seeing the same type of client a little bit, and I was just kind of like, these are middle class problems.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, I had came from nonprofit. I came from people who had really severe mental illness and like were in poverty and all that. So I was like, okay, I'm used to people saying, if I don't
Yeah.
figure this out, like just life is gonna stop and I'm not gonna have it till like, oh, everything's great, blah blah blah. But I'm this, and so I had to almost retrain my brain to say, okay, I can't go in with my bias either and say, okay, I can't relate to them,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we are human. And so on a human level, how can I relate to them? How can I put myself, use that empathy and put myself in their shoes and the emotions they're feeling? Because just like the experience I've had is unique to me, this is the only
Yeah.
experience that they don't know anything else. So while they might want to, they might want to relate to me, but they don't know how to, because this was just not their experience. So
Yeah, I
I
think
also
it's
have to
it's
be
also
open
like
that way
situation
too.
not judging a book by its cover, because like you can easily be like, yeah, they're not gonna understand me at
Yeah.
all, and like they could probably understand you. I mean, I remember in I've had several like back to like journalism field. I've had stories that took place in like the middle of Appalachia, and people are just like, oh, it's no. People see my
Mm-hmm.
New York Times logo. They're like, oh, there's some guy on Fifth Avenue that just or Eighth Avenue. I don't know where I work. Eighth Avenue. That's just like in this little fancy world. They don't understand what it is like to live in Ohio, in the southern rural Ohio. I'm like, no, I understand completely. I know exactly what it's like. Like throw what you want to throw at me. Like whatever
Right.
you want. Like I know what it is to shop at the Kroger. I know what it's like to deal with drug opioids and the overdoses and what it's like to be shunned because I've lived that. I've stood shoulder
Right.
to shoulder with you. I know the space, which has paid off, and it's allowed me to have conversations
Right.
with folks and to represent folks the way they need to be represented. So yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, but you can figure out
Yeah.
lots during conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, tell them where they can find you, because again, and are you working on any new projects? That we know you have Diversify Photo
Oh
going
God, a
on. Is there
house. I'm
any
working on a house.
new
That's what I'm
stuff?
working on. I'm working on a house. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be
Yes.
working on this house for the next however long it takes to
Okay.
work on the house. But outside of that, no, it's just diversified photo website. Oh, featuring I think we're over at 350 photographers of color from around the continent, from around the U.S. Um, Hopefully, be pushing out
Awesome.
mid-August, going globally, going internationally, which is going to be amazing. Just got some Fuji grants going around, so we
Yes.
got like 4 photographers right now that we got cameras to go experience the world. So we got some love from Fuji. And outside of that, it's working my day job, 9 to 5 or 10 to 7 at the New York Times. Please subscribe.
Mhm. I love how you just say that so
Yeah,
casual. Like, I just
I
work my
just,
day job at the New
it's
York
whatever.
Times.
I
Like,
try not to
whatever.
let it phase me, although it phases me every day. It was like just at the New York Times. It's fine. Please subscribe, watch the weekly, listen to the daily. Um, check out our check out the
Hmm.
business section, the best section of the New York Times. Don't let anyone tell you different. Um, and so yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing. Just day in day out grinding, and then working on this house. Which let me see, can I show you like a little bit of a curtain? That curtain. That's 30 years right there. So we
Hmm.
got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.
Oh
You see like the little
wow.
paint spouches behind me. So yeah,
Yes.
this is what I'm doing. If you need me, I'll be in Maplewood.
Work in progress. Awesome. And then I had a giveaway, but nobody won it. So I'm gonna give you guys another chance because
Yeah,
why not? So last Therapy Thursday, we talked about organization. So this is the planner that was on the giveaway post. It starts in July, so July is now over. It is August, but it has the tabs and it goes from August to June of 2020. So it's brand new, really beautiful. Even though it's pink, don't let that stop you, okay? Because pink is a very neutral color. Ever since Cameron
Hilla
really made it
Manila,
popular,
Hilla
that's when Brent
Fatilla,
really got on the train.
eating pasta spaghetti, fettuccine alfredo. It's like,
Oh goodness.
God bless you, Cameron.
So, oh man, Cameron, the voice of our youth. So anyway, but so yeah, again, to the first person, well, actually, I'm gonna do a drawing. So go and subscribe to Therapy Thursdays with Rachel on YouTube. Become a subscriber, and then send me a message on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you want to, about how you will use this and a self care tool that you have used in the past week. It's a really beautiful planner. I want to give it away. I have another
Ooh,
secret surprise that is going with it. Trust me, you want it. So make sure that you subscribe on YouTube and then send me a message. And then I'll do a drawing and then I will pick a winner. But I'm telling you, you're gonna want. And honestly, for every time a giveaway doesn't happen, I might just add another surprise to it. Because why
yeah.
not? I mean, I feel like it should be like a casino thing, and the stakes are just gonna get higher. But don't wait for it to get too high. 'Cause it's not gonna get too high. Okay, we still got a PayPal and a Cash App and stuff. So if you want to donate, we all that information will be listed with the video. I am actually gonna probably be asking you for some references. I'm looking for
Oh,
a much better camera to be
yeah, I
using
got you.
and to do some YouTube stuff. And so I have a few articles I've looked at, but I'm also like, oh, I
Yeah, they
gotta
ain't
save up
cheap.
because cameras are like $500. So if you guys love Therapy Thursdays and you wanted to keep going, then please feel free to support.
No problem. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Brent, for coming back. If you guys also want to see a lighter side of things, Brent and I also did a live stream earlier about Chance the
Long
Rapper's
project.
newest project, The Big Day. Uh, Long project. That's why we were late for this because it was very, very long, but really good. And so that is a new project that I will be working on. Personally called Ray Reacts. I will be talking with people about the various albums that they love, stuff that might be new to me, old to you. But there's just some amazing music out there, and I love talking about music. It's one of my favorite self care things is listening to music. And music just really speaks to me on a spiritual level, and so I'm definitely going to be doing that. I have a lot of albums that I want
I
Brent to
got
listen to, and I
yes.
think he definitely already has a few
Shea butter
that I have been
baby.
writing down. So
Okay.
yes. So that is it. So be looking out for that announcement as well. And then also, I've been sharing it, but Saturday, August 17th, I will be on a panel discussion for See the Light. It is a short film, and it talks about a heavy topic. It talks about depression. It talks about suicide. And it is going to just be amazing. I'm super excited. So there will be a screening, and then there will be a panel discussion. So if you're in the Chicagoland area and you're able to make it, I will be sharing that information all throughout August until we get there. Seating is limited though, so try to come on out. Other than that, that is all my church announcements.
No problem. Thank you.
So thank you again,
Yeah,
Brent, for
we've
spending
been
these past
going.
couple of hours with me, and and thank you for just sharing your vulnerability and your knowledge
Yeah,
and
appreciate
all
you.
of that.
Thank
So
you
we
for keeping
appreciate you.
everything rolling and having the conversations that need to be had because they're not being had enough. Even the ideas that we're still like well, mental health is a thing. Like you see all like the hashtags and people posting stuff, but like no one
Hmm.
actually goes any further than the hashtag. Please let this be more than the hashtag.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And men out there, if you would like to come on and be part of this series, come on. Brent has made it easy for y'all. He took the first step, so definitely come on, come and talk about it, because it's so important, and we need to see just more men being vulnerable and talking about mental health, and again breaking down these stigmas. So thank you guys, and
Ah.
I will see you next week.